The morning sun cast long shadows across the rocky terrain of the Afghan mountains as Staff Sergeant Maria Santos adjusted her position behind the Barrett M82A1 rifle. The weapon, weighing nearly 30 pounds, had become an extension of her body over the past 18 months of deployment. At 28 years old, she had already earned respect among her Marine Corps unit, but today would mark a moment that would echo through military history. Commander Jack Mitchell of SEAL Team 6 lowered his binoculars and studied the terrain ahead. His team had been tracking a high-value target for 3 weeks, and intelligence suggested their quarry would be moving through this valley within the next few hours. What he hadn't expected was to find a lone Marine sniper already positioned on the ridge, her rifle trained on the exact route they had been monitoring. Maria had been in position since before dawn, her spotter Corporal James Rivera beside her with his own scope. They had received intelligence about enemy movement in the area, and their commanding officer had ordered them to provide overwatch for a convoy moving through the valley below. The mission seemed routine until Rivera spotted movement on a distant ridge. Through her scope, Maria could see figures moving along a path carved into the mountainside. The distance was extraordinary, far beyond what most snipers would even attempt. Her rangefinder confirmed what she already suspected from studying the terrain maps the night before. The target was positioned at 3,580 meters away, nearly 2.25 miles. Commander Mitchell watched through his scope as the female Marine made minute adjustments to her rifle. He had heard rumors about exceptional marksmen in the regular forces, but witnessing this level of precision in real time was something entirely different. The SEAL commander had personally made shots at distances exceeding 2,000 meters, but what he was observing challenged everything he thought he knew about long-range marksmanship. Maria's breathing became controlled and rhythmic. Years of training had taught her to read wind patterns, atmospheric pressure, and temperature variations. The thin mountain air at this altitude would affect the bullet's trajectory, as would the crosswind coming from the northeast. She had spent the previous evening calculating ballistic data, but real-world conditions always presented variables that no computer could fully predict. The target through her scope was a high-ranking Taliban commander whose capture or elimination had been a priority for coalition forces in the region. Intelligence reports indicated he was responsible for coordinating attacks against supply convoys and had been directly involved in planning improvised explosive device placements that had killed dozens of American and Allied personnel. Rivera, her spotter, whispered wind speed and direction data. His job was crucial in shots of this magnitude, providing real-time environmental information that could mean the difference between a successful engagement and a complete miss. The two had worked together for over a year, developing an almost telepathic understanding of each other's methods and timing. Commander Mitchell activated his radio to coordinate with his team members positioned throughout the valley. The SEAL unit had been preparing to move closer to their target when they discovered the Marine sniper team already in position. Protocol suggested they should coordinate their efforts, but something about the Marine's confidence and preparation made him decide to observe rather than intervene. Maria had grown up in rural Montana, where her grandfather had taught her to shoot when she was 8 years old. By the time she enlisted in the Marine Corps at 19, she could consistently hit targets at distances that impressed even seasoned instructors at sniper school. Her natural ability, combined with rigorous training and an obsessive attention to detail, had made her one of the most capable marksmen in her unit. The wind conditions were constantly shifting, requiring Maria to make continuous adjustments to her point of aim. At this distance, a slight change in wind speed or direction could cause a bullet to miss by several meters. She had been tracking patterns for over an hour, noting how gusts moved through the valley and affected dust and debris on the mountainside. Through his binoculars, Commander Mitchell observed the target moving along the ridge. The Taliban commander was surrounded by several bodyguards and appeared to be conducting some form of inspection of defensive positions. The group would be in the area for only a limited time before moving to a more secure location deeper in the mountains. Maria's finger rested lightly on the trigger as she made final calculations. The shot would require the bullet to travel for nearly 8 seconds before reaching its target. During that time, the Earth's rotation would actually affect the bullet's path, a phenomenon known as the Coriolis effect. At extreme ranges, even this minute influence had to be considered. The Barrett rifle contained a .50 caliber round weighing 750 grains. The massive bullet would leave the barrel at approximately 2,800 feet per second, but by the time it reached the target, it would have slowed considerably due to air resistance and gravity. Maria had selected armor-piercing incendiary rounds, knowing that the target might be wearing body armor. Commander Mitchell found himself holding his breath as he watched the Marine sniper make final adjustments. In his years of special operations experience, he had witnessed extraordinary feats of marksmanship, but the combination of distance, environmental conditions, and target movement made this attempt seem almost impossible. Rivera confirmed the target's position and movement pattern. The Taliban commander had stopped near a rocky outcropping, presenting a stationary target for what might be only a few seconds. This was the opportunity they had been waiting for, but the window would close quickly. Maria's training took over as she controlled her breathing and applied steady pressure to the trigger. The rifle's scope was zeroed for shorter distances, requiring her to aim several feet above the target to compensate for bullet drop over the extreme range. Years of experience and countless hours of practice had given her an intuitive understanding of how her rifle performed under various conditions. The moment of truth arrived as the Taliban commander paused in his movement, turning to speak with one of his associates. Maria had been tracking his patterns and anticipated this brief stop. Her finger squeezed the trigger with the precise pressure she had practiced thousands of times on training ranges. The Barrett rifle roared, its massive muzzle brake directing gases sideways to reduce recoil. The sound echoed across the valley like thunder, and the rifle's recoil drove into Maria's shoulder with tremendous force. Through her scope, she watched the bullet's trace as it arced across the vast distance toward its target. Commander Mitchell tracked the bullet's flight through his binoculars, watching as it covered the distance in what seemed like an eternity, but was actually less than 8 seconds. The trajectory appeared perfect, and he found himself amazed by the precision of the shot under such challenging conditions. The impact was devastating and immediate. The .50 caliber round struck the Taliban commander's center mass, the enormous kinetic energy transferring instantly upon contact. The target dropped immediately, and confusion erupted among his bodyguards as they sought cover and tried to determine the direction of the attack. Maria remained perfectly still, continuing to observe through her scope to assess the results of her shot. Training had taught her to stay in position after firing, both to confirm the target's status and to be prepared for follow-up shots if necessary. What she saw through the scope confirmed that her shot had been successful. Commander Mitchell lowered his binoculars and stared at the Marine sniper with something approaching awe. In over 15 years of special operations experience, including deployments in Iraq, Afghanistan, and several classified locations, he had never witnessed marksmanship of this caliber. The shot had been executed under conditions that would challenge the most experienced military snipers in the world. Rivera confirmed the successful engagement through his spotting scope, providing additional details about the target's condition and the reaction of surrounding personnel. The Taliban group was in complete disarray, unable to locate the source of the attack due to the extreme distance involved. Maria slowly began the process of extracting from her position, carefully packing her equipment while maintaining awareness of potential threats. The successful engagement would likely trigger increased enemy activity in the area, making a quick and quiet withdrawal essential for survival. The news of the 3.58-kilometer shot would spread quickly through military channels, eventually reaching the highest levels of command. Such an achievement under combat conditions was unprecedented and would lead to investigations into how a relatively unknown Marine had accomplished what many considered impossible. Commander Mitchell made the decision to approach the Marine sniper team as they prepared to withdraw. His SEAL unit had been operating independently in the area, but the extraordinary nature of what he had just witnessed demanded recognition and potentially strategic coordination for future operations. As Maria packed her Barrett rifle into its carrying case, she remained focused on the immediate tactical situation rather than the historical significance of her shot. Her training emphasized mission completion and safe extraction above personal achievement, values that had been drilled into her throughout her military career. The implications of the successful engagement would extend far beyond the immediate tactical victory. The elimination of the high-value target would disrupt enemy operations in the region and provide valuable intelligence opportunities. More importantly, the demonstration of such extraordinary marksmanship capability would change how military planners viewed long-range precision engagement options. Commander Mitchell approached the Marine position with his hands visible and his weapon lowered, following standard protocols for friendly force contact. His intention was to commend the exceptional marksmanship and potentially coordinate future operations, recognizing that such capability could be invaluable for SEAL team missions in the region. Maria turned at the sound of approaching footsteps, her hand instinctively moving toward her sidearm before recognizing the distinctive gear and bearing of special operations personnel. Commander Mitchell raised his hand slightly, displaying the patches and insignia that identified him as friendly forces. Rivera had already spotted the SEAL team's approach and had his weapon ready but not aimed. The commander introduced himself using proper military protocol, identifying his unit and mission parameters without revealing classified details. His weathered face and experienced eyes immediately told Maria that this was someone who had seen extensive combat and understood the significance of what had just transpired. Mitchell explained that his team had been tracking the same target for weeks and had witnessed the entire engagement from their position. His tone carried genuine respect and professional admiration for the shot Maria had just executed. In the special operations community, exceptional marksmanship was both rare and highly valued. Maria responded with characteristic modesty, crediting her training, equipment, and spotter for the successful engagement. Her matter-of-fact approach to what many would consider an impossible shot impressed the SEAL commander even more than the technical achievement itself. This kind of professional composure under pressure was exactly what special operations units look for in potential candidates. The conversation was interrupted by radio traffic indicating increased enemy activity in the surrounding area. The elimination of the high-value target had triggered predictable responses from Taliban forces, who were now attempting to locate and eliminate whoever had been responsible for the attack. Both teams needed to extract from their current positions quickly and carefully. Commander Mitchell suggested coordinated withdrawal routes that would allow both teams to reach safe extraction points without interfering with each other's movements. His tactical knowledge of the terrain proved valuable, as SEAL teams had been operating in this region for several months and had identified multiple escape routes. As they moved through the rugged mountain terrain, Mitchell found opportunities to ask Maria about her background and training. Her responses revealed a depth of knowledge about ballistics, environmental factors, and tactical applications that went far beyond standard Marine Corps sniper training. She had clearly spent considerable time studying advanced marksmanship techniques and had access to specialized equipment and ammunition. Rivera, moving alongside his partner, provided additional details about their mission parameters and operational history. The Marine sniper team had been deployed to this region specifically to provide long-range reconnaissance and precision fire support for coalition forces operating in the area. Their success rate on previous missions had been exceptional, but nothing had prepared them for the shot they had just executed. The withdrawal route took both teams through a series of ravines and rocky outcroppings that provided concealment from observation, but also created potential ambush points. Mitchell's experience in the terrain proved invaluable as he guided them along paths that minimized exposure while maintaining reasonable speed. During a brief halt to check for pursuit, Commander Mitchell made a decision that would change Maria's military career trajectory. He activated his secure radio and contacted his superior officers, requesting permission to recruit the Marine sniper for future SEAL operations. The extraordinary capability she had demonstrated could be game-changing for special operations missions requiring precision engagement at extreme ranges. Maria listened as Mitchell explained the potential opportunities available within special operations units. The training would be more intensive than anything she had experienced, and the missions would be more dangerous and classified than her current assignments. However, the chance to work with the best military personnel in the world and access to cutting-edge equipment and technology was an opportunity few Marines ever received. The radio crackled with responses from Mitchell's command structure. Senior SEAL officers who had heard preliminary reports about the 3.58-kilometer shot were already interested in meeting the Marine responsible for the achievement. Such marksmanship capability could provide significant tactical advantages in future operations where precision and discretion were paramount. As they continued their withdrawal, Maria considered the implications of potentially joining Special Operations Forces. Her current unit had become like family, and leaving them would be difficult. However, the opportunity to push the boundaries of what was possible in military marksmanship was extremely appealing. Rivera expressed mixed emotions about the possibility of his partner being recruited for special operations. Their teamwork had been developed over many months of training and combat operations, and losing such an effective partner would be a significant setback for his own career. However, he recognized that Maria's capabilities deserved recognition and advancement opportunities. The extraction point was a clearing where helicopters could safely land to retrieve both teams. Commander Mitchell coordinated with air support to ensure that pickup times were staggered to avoid presenting a concentrated target for enemy forces who might be tracking their movement. As they waited for air support, Mitchell shared stories from his own career progression within special operations. He had started as a regular Navy sailor before being selected for SEAL training, and he understood the challenges and rewards of advancing within elite military units. His advice focused on maintaining the same dedication to training and attention to detail that had made Maria's extraordinary shot possible. The sound of approaching helicopters interrupted their conversation as the extraction birds appeared on schedule. Mitchell's SEAL team would be picked up first, followed by the Marine sniper team. As they prepared to separate, the commander provided Maria with contact information for special operations recruitment personnel. Before boarding his helicopter, Commander Mitchell took a moment to formally commend Maria for her exceptional marksmanship and professional conduct. He indicated that reports of her achievement would be forwarded through appropriate channels and that she should expect contact from special operations recruiters within a few days. Maria and Rivera watched as the SEAL helicopter disappeared into the distance before their own extraction bird arrived. During their flight back to base, Maria reflected on the events of the day and the potential changes they might bring to her military career. The shot that had taken less than 8 seconds to complete might have altered the entire trajectory of her life. Back at their forward operating base, news of the successful engagement had already begun spreading through the military community. Senior officers were requesting detailed reports about the shot, including environmental conditions, equipment specifications, and the targeting process used to achieve such extraordinary accuracy. Maria spent the next several hours debriefing with intelligence officers who wanted to understand every aspect of the engagement. The elimination of the high-value target had provided significant tactical advantages, but the method used to achieve the kill was equally important for future operational planning. The Barrett rifle was inspected by armament specialists who wanted to understand how the weapon had performed under such extreme conditions. Every aspect of the shot was analyzed, from ammunition selection to atmospheric conditions, creating a comprehensive record that could be used to train future snipers. Rivera provided corroborating testimony about the engagement, confirming the environmental conditions and the precision of his partner's calculations. His role as spotter had been crucial to the mission's success, and his detailed observations provided valuable data for ballistic analysis. Word of the 3.58-kilometer shot reached the highest levels of military command within hours of the mission's completion. Generals who specialized in special operations were already discussing how such capability could be integrated into future mission planning. The strategic implications of having snipers capable of engaging targets at such extreme ranges were significant. Maria's commanding officer called her into his office to discuss the unusual level of attention her mission had generated. Phone calls from Special Operations Command, requests for detailed reports from military intelligence, and inquiries from sniper training facilities had been arriving steadily since news of the shot had been reported. The conversation with her commanding officer focused on the opportunities that might become available as a result of her achievement. Special operations units were always seeking exceptional personnel, and demonstrated capability under combat conditions was the most reliable indicator of future performance. That evening, Maria received a secure phone call from a senior SEAL officer who had reviewed reports of her shot. The conversation was brief, but significant, as it represented the first formal contact from Special Operations recruitment personnel. A meeting was scheduled for the following week to discuss potential career opportunities. As she prepared for sleep that night, Maria reflected on how a single moment of exceptional performance had created possibilities she had never seriously considered. The 3.58-kilometer shot had been the culmination of years of training and preparation, but its consequences were just beginning to unfold. The military community is relatively small, and news of extraordinary achievement spreads quickly through informal networks. By the next morning, Maria had received messages from fellow snipers, former instructors, and military personnel she hadn't spoken with in years, all wanting to congratulate her on the historic shot. Commander Mitchell, back at his own base, was already preparing reports for his superiors about the potential recruitment of the Marine sniper. His recommendations would carry significant weight given his operational experience and reputation within the special operations community. The process of bringing Maria into SEAL operations had effectively begun the moment he witnessed her extraordinary marksmanship. 3 weeks after the historic shot, Maria found herself standing outside a nondescript building at Naval Special Warfare Command in Coronado, California. The meeting arranged by Commander Mitchell had evolved into a formal evaluation process that could determine the next phase of her military career. Her hands, steady enough to make impossible shots, trembled slightly as she approached the entrance. Inside, she was greeted by Captain Sarah Chun, a special operations officer who had reviewed every detail of Maria's service record and the Afghanistan engagement. Captain Chun had spent 15 years in various special operations roles and had never seen a documented shot approaching the distance Maria had achieved under combat conditions. The evaluation process began with extensive interviews about Maria's motivation, training philosophy, and long-term military goals. Special operations units required personnel who could function effectively under extreme pressure while maintaining absolute reliability in life-or-death situations. The 3.58-kilometer shot demonstrated technical capability, but psychological evaluation was equally important. Maria was introduced to Master Chief Petty Officer David Rodriguez, a legendary figure within the SEAL community who had been involved in some of the most significant special operations missions of the past 2 decades. His role was to assess whether Maria possessed the mental toughness and adaptability required for SEAL operations beyond her obvious marksmanship skills. The psychological evaluation included scenario-based testing that placed Maria in simulated high-stress situations requiring rapid decision-making and precise execution. Her responses demonstrated the same calm professionalism that had enabled her extraordinary shot, but also revealed tactical thinking abilities that impressed even experienced special operations evaluators. Physical fitness testing pushed Maria to her limits across multiple disciplines. SEAL operations required capabilities far beyond marksmanship, including underwater operations, close-quarters combat, parachuting, and extended mission endurance. Her Marine Corps training had prepared her well, but special operations standards were significantly more demanding. During combat simulations, Maria worked alongside active SEAL team members to demonstrate her ability to integrate into existing units. These exercises tested everything from tactical communication to weapon handling under stress. Her performance consistently exceeded expectations, showing that her exceptional shooting was supported by comprehensive military skills. Commander Mitchell arrived at the evaluation facility on the third day to provide his first-hand assessment of Maria's capabilities. His testimony about witnessing the Afghanistan engagement carried significant weight with the evaluation board. He described not only the technical achievement, but also Maria's professional conduct and tactical awareness during the mission. The ballistics analysis of Maria's shot had been completed by military scientists who specialized in extreme-range marksmanship. Their report confirmed that the engagement had been executed under nearly optimal conditions, but required extraordinary skill to achieve success. The combination of environmental factors, equipment performance, and shooter capability represented a perfect convergence of elements. Maria's interview with the SEAL team psychologist explored her motivations for pursuing special operations and her understanding of the sacrifices required. The lifestyle changes, operational security requirements, and personal risks associated with SEAL operations were significantly greater than standard military service. Her responses demonstrated mature consideration of these challenges. The final phase of evaluation involved classified briefings about potential mission profiles and operational requirements. Maria learned about the types of challenges SEAL snipers faced and the advanced training programs available to develop specialized capabilities. The opportunities for professional development were extraordinary, but came with corresponding responsibilities. Captain Chun conducted the final interview, reviewing Maria's performance across all evaluation criteria. The technical scores were exceptional, psychological evaluation was positive, and feedback from team integration exercises was overwhelmingly favorable. The decision to recommend Maria for SEAL sniper training appeared straightforward. However, the conversation also addressed potential complications in transitioning from the Marine Corps to Navy Special Operations. Inter-service transfers required extensive coordination and approval from multiple command levels. The process could take months to complete, and success was not guaranteed despite positive evaluations. Maria was informed that her case had already generated interest at the highest levels of Special Operations Command. The strategic value of having personnel capable of extreme-range precision engagement had been recognized, and resources were being allocated to develop these capabilities within SEAL teams. The offer presented to Maria included immediate transfer to specialized sniper training programs that were among the most advanced in the world. The curriculum would cover not only marksmanship, but also advanced reconnaissance, target designation for precision munitions, and integration with Joint Special Operations Forces. Financial incentives accompanying the transfer were substantial, reflecting the military's recognition of Maria's unique capabilities. Special operations personnel received additional pay and benefits, and her documented achievement provided leverage for optimal assignment conditions. The package represented a significant improvement over her current compensation. Maria requested time to consider the offer and consult with her family before making a final decision. Captain Chin agreed to a 2-week decision timeline, understanding that such a career change required careful consideration. The opportunity would likely not be extended again if declined, given the competitive nature of special operations selection. During her return flight to Afghanistan, Maria reflected on the evaluation process and the opportunities it represented. The chance to work at the highest levels of military capability was appealing, but leaving her current unit and teammates created emotional conflicts. Rivera had been particularly supportive, but clearly disappointed about potentially losing his sniper partner. Back at her forward operating base, Maria found that her reputation had continued to grow during her absence. Military personnel from other units had requested meetings to discuss advanced marksmanship techniques, and she had received unofficial offers from various special operations elements beyond the SEAL teams. The base commander called Maria into his office to discuss her evaluation and potential transfer. While he would hate to lose such an exceptional Marine, he recognized that her capabilities deserved the highest level of utilization. His recommendation would support whatever decision Maria made about her career path. Maria spent extensive time on secure phone calls with her family, explaining the opportunity and seeking their input about the decision. The special operations lifestyle would require extended deployments to classified locations and might limit communication during missions. Her family's support was crucial for making such a significant commitment. Rivera and Maria had several long conversations about the potential transfer and its impact on their professional partnership. While he encouraged her to pursue the opportunity, they both recognized that their effective teamwork will be difficult to replicate with new partners. Their success had been built over many months of shared training and combat experience. The decision deadline approached as Maria weighed the various factors influencing her choice. The professional opportunities were extraordinary, but the personal costs were significant. Special operations would provide access to advanced training and equipment, but would also isolate her from the relationships and routine she had established. On the final day before her decision was due, Maria received an unexpected communication from Commander Mitchell. He had been monitoring her evaluation process and wanted to provide additional perspective about special operations careers. His message emphasized that exceptional capabilities carried responsibilities to serve at the highest possible level. Maria made her decision that evening, composing a formal response to Captain Chun accepting the transfer to SEAL sniper training. The choice represented a commitment to pushing the boundaries of what was possible in military marksmanship and a willingness to take on the challenges of special operations service. The approval process for her transfer began immediately, with paperwork flowing through Marine Corps and Navy command structures. The unusual nature of the request required multiple levels of authorization, but support from special operations leadership expedited the process significantly. Within 6 months, Staff Sergeant Maria Santos had completed her transition to become Petty Officer First Class Maria Santos, U.S. Navy SEALs. The advanced training program she attended pushed her capabilities even further beyond the extraordinary levels she had already demonstrated. Her instructors included some of the most accomplished snipers in military history. Commander Mitchell, now promoted to captain, personally welcomed Maria to her first SEAL team assignment. The unit had been specifically configured to take advantage of her extreme range capabilities, with missions planned around precision engagement requirements that had previously been considered impossible. The 3.58-kilometer shot that had started everything became a footnote in Maria's expanding legend within the special operations community. Subsequent missions pushed her capabilities even further, with documented engagements exceeding 4 kilometers under combat conditions. Her achievement had opened entirely new tactical possibilities for special operations forces. Years later, Maria would look back on that morning in the Afghan mountains as the moment her life changed forever. A single bullet fired across an impossible distance had opened doors she never knew existed and challenged her to reach levels of excellence she had never imagined. Commander Mitchell's decision to approach her that day had transformed not only her career, but also the capabilities of American Special Operations Forces. The Barrett rifle that had fired the historic shot was eventually retired to a military museum, where it stands as a testament to the extraordinary achievements possible when exceptional training, advanced equipment, and individual excellence converge under the pressures of combat. Maria's story continues to inspire new generations of military marksmen who strive to push the boundaries of what human skill and determination can accomplish.